Hello everyone, this is Joe here from OmniPoke, the channel that brings you guys everything Pokemon. And today we're looking at Greninja, another archetype that's been pretty hyped for Worlds. And since it won in Seniors with Michael Long at the North American Internationals, it sort of gained a bit of hype. And because there's a few new archetypes, namely Gardevoir GX, that is a good matchup for Greninja, a lot of people are turning their heads saying, well, maybe this is a decent play for Worlds. In my opinion, it's still a very risky play because there's the likes of Golisopod, Decidueye, and Vikabulu around. But if you're expecting the meta to be very closed in on Volcanion, Guardy, Metagross, you might have a really good time with Greninja. So let's have a look at the archetype. First of all, a 4-4-4-3 line of Greninja. We all know that we're going to be using the Bubble Froakie. This can get you out of very awkward spots at times with a bit of paralysis. We do, of course, have the Water Duplicates Frogadier, which is what we go for every single turn 2. It is the crutch of the deck. It is how we set up every single game. Very, very strong attack, and just cross your fingers that you don't prize a bunch. This is how we're going to get multiple Greninjas into play. Then we do have the Greninja himself, still a very integral, powerful Pokemon. Free Retreat is amazing. 130 HP is okay for a Stage 2, nothing to shout about, but still fairly tanky when you're not committing much energy to him. We can do very nicely, and especially because we have Splash Energy, we can recycle these quite consistently. Both of his attack costs are for a single energy. Shadow Stitching deals 40 and is essentially the Hex Maniac effect, but as an effect of an attack. Very good for us, although it's not a huge chunk of damage. Ability Lock is handy for the likes of, as I've already said, Guardy, Volk, and Metagross. Even things like Vikabulu, if they're not able to get it online early on, that could be handy for you as well. There's a bunch of other ability Pokemon out there, so Shadow Stitching can find spots at any point. Even when you're ending someone down to a low hand size and then just trying to stitch them to make sure they can't get Lele as an out for game or Ultra Ball. So this is always something to bear in mind. Ability Lock still very, very strong here. And we then have the more damaging attack in Moonlight Slash. 60 base, which sometimes we do go for, because if you want to keep the Splash Energy on the board, you just settle for the 60 damage, but we can do an additional 20 if we return this water energy to our hand. 80 damage plus 30 from Choice Band is doing decent numbers, especially on 170 HP EX and GX Pokemon because of the Greninja BREAK's amazing, amazing ability. And that is pretty much the whole reason why you're going around this awkward Stage 2 fumbly line where you have these really awkward opening turns, you're just crossing your fingers throughout the whole time, you're hoping you draw well, you're hoping your prizes aren't terrible, and you're hoping that you can continually get up to this high evolution because we are essentially playing a Stage 3, but it's all worth it in theory because Greninja BREAK is still a bonkers card. It's a non-EX with 170 HP, very, very awkward to deal with. In one hits for a bunch of different decks, and this ability is phenomenal. Giant Water Shuriken. Once during your turn, before you attack, if this Pokemon is your active, you may discard a water energy from hand. If you do, place 6 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. Of course, you can do this, free retreat out into another one. Potentially we can get 120 damage just from Shurikens alone if you have 2 breaks set up. In fact, now that we have Guzma for the Worlds format, we can potentially do 180 damage if you have 3 Greninja BREAKs in play and 3 energy in your hand. Bear in mind we have Starmie to make that a little bit easier. In theory, you could go Giant Water Shuriken, retreat, Giant Water Shuriken, Guzma, Giant Water Shuriken, attach for turn, and attack. So, potentially, I mean, it's like you've 100% won the game if you can do 180 damage on one turn just through ability alone. Like, I don't think you can ever lose from that spot. Plus, if you've got to the point where you've got 3 breaks out, I don't think you ever lose as Greninja regardless. So, it's something to bear in mind, but I mean, it doesn't matter if you do it or not. Basically, if you've got 2 breaks out, you're pretty happy with your board position. So, yeah, 3 break, just the standard counts. The support Pokemon, I've stuck with what Michael played because they seem to be very logical and handy. 2 Staryu, they have free retreat, so they're absolutely fine to lead with, even if they're not Froakies. We have plenty of Ball Search cards to hopefully get us Froakie anyway. And then we have the 1 Starmie, 90 HP, so it's nice with level ball. Has this great ability, Space Beacon. Once during your turn, you may discard a card from your hand. If you do, put 2 basic energy cards from your discard pile back in. to the hand, which is really awesome. So we can thin dead weight. You can get rid of like excess Froakies, get rid of Jirachi if it's useless in the matchup, even get rid of like Rescue Stretcher if your board position is strong, etc. And just get yourself the thing that you want, which is basic energy to attack with and to use your abilities with as soon as they're online. Very strong card, and in many ways it's end proofing as well, because if you're using Moonlight Slash to put energy to hand, they can end your hand away, but as long as you're drawing like one card, you can get Space Beacon to guarantee water energies again to finish things off with attacks. The final tech is the one-of Stardust Jirachi. This has been thrown into Greninjas for a long time, and there's still a lot of energy. There are specials in the format. There's DCEs everywhere with like Drampers and Decidueyes. There's rainbows running around as well for the similar decks, and Stardust is still going to be great for trying to stall and gain that immunity. Bear in mind, Guzma does make it potentially a little bit worse than it used to be, but still a useful card nonetheless, I feel, for trying to stifle setup and maybe buy yourself a turn, because one turn is a big difference as a Greninja player. So let's look at some items. I am playing a strange ball search count. I'm playing one Evo Soda because I think it's really good. I think it's better than an Ultra Ball for certain. I think it's just a little bit less greedy than Ultra Ball, if that makes sense. No, it's a little bit more greedy than Ultra Ball because it's not a basic Pokemon, but it's just phenomenal almost every other time. 2-level ball, great at the early game stages for getting multiple Froakie and trying to find your turn 2 Frogadier, as well as your tech Pokemon. They are all searchable this way. 2 repeat ball, again, can be nice early game as long as you've led Froakie, so you can double up and not get donked. And basically, as soon as you get into a Frogadier, you're going to do your duplicates, then you go into Greninja, you start getting multiple Greninjas, and similarly, once you break Evolve, this is also a very great search tool. So, great in the first turn, great on the third and fourth turns as well, so very, very good card. You just don't really play it when you're duplicating anyway, so seems pretty good as long as your hand is already decent. And 4 Dive Ball, obviously the most powerful one, gets everything but the Jirachi. This is the one you want to see most of. And yeah, so it's a high ball search count, 9 in total, if you count Evo Soda as like a ball, because you're still searching the deck for a Pokemon. And yeah, because we have things like Field Blower and such, we can just have the spaces dedicated to guaranteeing the Pokemon, because all you need to do is keep building the board higher each turn. Just going up stages is how you're trying to win with Greninja, and having as many ball search cards as possible is going to enable you to do that. I'm also playing 1 rare candy. It's something I've flirted with Greninja. I've previously not been a fan, but because we play 2 teammates, I feel this is a very cute one-off that you can have. Seeing as though in most matchups you'll go for a double Froakie turn 1 to secure yourself not getting donked. There are the times when Froakie survives, or if you have a third Froakie that you can just put down middle of the game, you can get yourself a candy Greninja. This also mitigates the issue of prizing a Frogadier here or there. It does happen, it's just a factor, so now that we have the teammates engine, I like the cheeky 1 rare candy. It is quite a greedy card, but it pays off quite nicely when you have the teammates combo, so that is a cool one-of, which I'm a fan of. Then we are playing double Field Blower, obviously essential for getting rid of tools off of Garbodor, and additionally, fighting Fury Belts could be pesky, so these are going to be handy. It also helps us contest the Stadium War, because as you can see, I'm not playing any Stadium, so bear this in mind. Then we are playing 3 Rescue Stretcher. Alongside the 4 Splash, I think you're always recovering Greninja pieces, you're building your board, maintaining it as well as possible. Really like the high count. 3 versus Seeker, I think it's fine. We have high physical counts of supporters, so that's why I'm happy with the 3 count. I would rather have less of these and just more actual supporters, so our turn 1s are more safe and secure. So that's why we've gone for this route, and it's also 1 less item that we're playing against Garbodor, which is probably still going to be around for Worlds. The one of Guzma comes in for Lysander because we have so many free retreaters from the Greninjas themselves, and even Staryu, I guess. We can never be punished really for the secondary effect, and at the same time we can only ever be aided by this, as I said, with the break evolutions, or if we can't move a Froakie, Frogadier, Jirachi, or Starmie, we are able to, thanks to Guzma. Then we have the 2 teammates. We are always dropping prizes like crazy, and instead of going for the Ace Trainer route, we feel that teammates is better now, just because you want to build your board. If you build your board, you're going to just be so much better in the late game rather than trying to Ace Trainer them down, because normally they can just continue to announce attacks and still carve through your board, whereas teammates means that we're actually gaining advantage on our own side of the field and building up our side. and it does make the neat combos work, where we can dig out Field Blower against Garbodor, dig out that rare Candy as well, and pretty much just ensure that we can keep growing our Frogadiers into the higher stages, which is important. Then the 4 count of N and Sycamore, just to be consistent. I think there should be no question marks over these cards. Greninja, famous for being awkward and clunky and janky and just not being able to play the game, losing in 2 turns. These are all the things you see. Plenty of memes around Greninja, and trying our best to play as many draw supporters as possible is all we can do, really, and then crossing your fingers. 2 choice band, it's a really nice math fixer. It's great for additional damage. Only playing the 2 count because we want to set up the board just in general, so only space for 2, but I like the counts. And 4 splash, 6 water. I think when you're playing Starmie, you can afford to play a fairly low count of physical basic energy, because you can, in theory, cycle them quite nicely, which means we can get the full benefit of splash energy as much as possible, so that we can continue to slap down Frogadiers again, Greninjas again, making sure that our board never really depletes each turn. Even though they are taking prizes, it means that we can response with another Greninja every single turn, which is pretty cool for you. So I think the access to splash energy is important enough to just play 4 of. Even though there's things like Dramper out there and E-Hammer, I don't think you ever care about E-Hammer too much, because you're only ever needing 1 energy to attack with, and if someone's going to Righteous Edge you for 20, you're super happy about that circumstance as a Greninja player, because they've basically wasted a turn, and there's a GX Pokemon in the active that we can mop up quite nicely with the likes of Water Shurikens and stuff. So yeah, I think you never really get punished for playing the special energy, so let's just go for it. So let's talk about tech Pokemon. There is always the debate around Talonflame, no Talonflame. And even there's the debate of playing the Break or not. The Break is pretty cool if you want to have an out against Decidueye. We are basically taking the auto loss at the moment in time with this list. This can also help out against the likes of Galissapod, because they can't hit 170. They are stuck at 120. So potentially you improve a couple of bad matchups by playing the Talonflame line. It does change the list a little bit. Some of these techie ball cards like Repeat Balls and Evo Sodas, they become Ultra Balls. Starmie gets kicked out and Jirachi gets kicked out, so that you can play like Fisherman and then just Talonflames. It is a great lead. Aeroblitz is cool. It's just when you don't start with Talonflame, you're super sad. But it's up to you really as a Greninja player. If you're expecting item lock as well, that's another consideration to play this card over just the straight build. Additionally, Garbodor, this is pretty good against, because you can always search out the physical cards rather than having to use item cards to find your Greninja pieces. So all things to consider, but for now I'm showing you a straight build, seeing as though that was the successful build in the North American Internationals, which is a pretty big tournament, so I think we should take that as it is and pretty much accept that that's a good list. So we are going to look at Ace Trainer. This is, again, a disruption card. I know Michael did play it in his, but for now I'm just going double teammates. It's up to you if you want to play this card or not. There's also another card I was thinking of. Oh, there's a few actually. Enhanced Hammer instead of Jirachi is potentially a thing, so you don't lead Jirachi and have the potential bad starter. So E-Hammer as well can slow down the attachments of the likes of Decidueye, maybe make it a winnable matchup for you. There is also, oh my goodness, I literally just had it in my head. Oh yeah, here we go. Max Potion. This is another sort of greedy card that we sometimes see in Greninja to try and gain advantage. Whenever someone can't one-hit knock out the likes of Greninja Break, you can get a huge swing in tempo by basically healing off and just gaining a turn on them. And a turn at that point in the game for Greninja can sometimes be like 180 plus damage, so that can be excellent. Another card, if I was going to play any stadium at all, it would probably be Silent Lab, because you can potentially stifle the setup of some other opponents, especially if they're reliant on Tapu Lele or Shaman, while at the same time having an answer to the Giratina promo, which some people might be teching in if they're expecting a lot of Greninja. Personally, I feel like there won't be a huge amount of Greninja at Worlds. I think it's still a risky play, and therefore only a handful of people will play it. But it's up to people really if they want to play Giratina promo and not lose Greninja, or if you want to play Silent Lab and not lose to the people teching for you outside of your bad matchups. It's really up to you. For now, I just wanted to show you a bare bones consistent list, and maybe in your own testing you cut a couple of cards here or there, like cut the Evo Soda, cut maybe the Splash Energy, and just fit into Silent Lab. I think you don't need ever more than 2 stadiums in this list. Maybe going for those cuts to put the Silent Labs in isn't the worst compromise I've ever heard of, so potentially that's what you go for if you're worried about Giratina promo, but I'm personally not too worried. I would rather just my deck work as much as possible, because Greninja already has the issues of not drawing all too well. So let's have a look at Greninja in action. It's really flipping the coin based on your matchups, and also seeing how good your opening hand is and how good your prizes are. So there's plenty of heart-pounding moments with Greninja, that's for sure. So if you're an adrenaline junkie, this could be the deck for you. Hopefully we can find ourselves a game pretty quickly. The ladder is crazy right now because everyone is innovating with new archetypes, so we could be facing literally anything. Let's find out what we're up against. We are able to win the flip. And we have ourselves Froakie. We currently don't have the turn 2 dupes. We do have a second Froakie though. We are up against Tapu Koko. Holding this hand, it means we could get a Candy Greninja and then N into Frogadier. Or do we just end now and hope? Like, if we just pass now, maybe they think our hand's weak, maybe they think it's strong, who knows, but I think passing is reasonable. Just because we have the Candy Ninja, that seems really good. Denying the Aero Trail from Tapu Koko is going to be amazing for us, so yeah. We'll see how this goes. It should be an easy matchup in theory, because we can deny Aero Trail all game. And that is the main advantage of playing Tapu Koko. But we'll see. Maybe they have enough turns to get like 6 energy on board anyway, where it's not too relevant. We'll see if they can psych us out, if they're going to Lele for a Sycamore or an N here. I would imagine it's Lele unless they already have a supporter in their hand. Let's have a think. What are they going to go for, team? I think Sycamore. Hey, okay. I mean, I'm saying A, but we don't actually have the dupes. It's just that we have a Ninja. We have the cheeky one-of Candy in hand. And Elixir fails them, and they just pass. Do the active because we have free retreat anyway. I will commit the energy to the bench because if we can't dupes, we'll just bubble, I guess. We'll see what this hand works out as. 1 Frogadier is ideal for certain. That is pretty much the best hand we could have hoped for. We can get ourselves a dupes off, and we already have a Greninja ready to break next turn, so this is all very good. No prized Frogadiers either. This is looking amazing. We have ourselves the blowers, which we need to access quite quickly, because we basically take away 70 HP as soon as we do that. So we'll see. The opponent's whiffed 1 Elixir. Maybe they can get an attack off this turn. We'll see. They manually attach once. They Elixir to the bench, so they need to find themselves another Tapu Koko in order to get an attack off. Or something like E-Switch. Oh my goodness. We are getting free reign on this guy. Incredible news. Okay. $170 is out of range for his guys, which is also great news. Even though we're only doing 10 damage with stitching, is it worth it? I believe it probably is, because otherwise he can just use one of his scoop ups or Acer Rollers or whatnot. He can Aero Trail first, then get a scoop up Acer Roller thing. This way we're actually keeping the damage on the board. So we are just going to see them Sycamore here. There's an Ultra Ball. I'm going to go ahead and use it. They actually play Wish Baton. Play 3 different tools. Wish Baton, Band, and Belt. Let's see a Trainer's Mail again. For an Acer Roller. And we are just going to Sky High Claws for 140 with the Belt. We get ourselves a Stretcher, which is fine. So although it sounds terrible, we are going to Stitch for 10 damage. Sets up teammates for us, and again we're just denying the Aero Trail, so he's going to have to put down the Coco and start manually attaching up another one. Wow, he's just going to Lele. That is so bad for him. That is so poor. Maybe he has a read on our hand just being terrible, which it isn't great, but we have teammates, so it's workable. Greninja's a good draw for sure. That was going to be one of my teammates' targets. So we'll get ourselves a break. And we're going to teammates. Gonna go for a Water Energy and a Sycamore here. And again, we'll Stitch. So if you want to stay Acer Roller, that's absolutely fine. The Lele's doing 80. We're not afraid of that. And it's far less tanky than the Coco as well. Wow, they could lose this turn. They could easily lose this turn with enough Water Energy here. Well, okay, forget that then. We'll start trying to develop Staryu, seeing as though we just whiffed energy. I believe now's a good time to blow her, although we could just surprise him with it. I mean, Blower's not affecting us at all this turn, right? We can just Stitch for 70. Denying Aero Trail is obviously the name of the game. I'm going to start attaching to Coco. Comes another Trainer's Mail. For the Versus Seeker. Energy Drive coming down. Have lots of energy in our discard piles, so we will teammates for Starmie as well as. So Field Blow is happening for sure. Let's see how much damage I need to do this turn. Starmie gets me enough to carry the active with a Stitching, and that's really all I need. So then I just grab Stretcher for plenty of targets. Get rid of the N, sure. Yeah, we were in complete control there. We're taking 2 prizes. He can't like air a trail because we'll be ending on a shadow stitching. We'll be 2 prizes away. We'll be 2 prizes up. He can't respond on us in any way for a few turns. Then we just got him in the stitching lock. So nice win there. Let's get into another game. Quite an easy matchup for us. I don't have Coco being a tier 1 threat for Worlds. I would be surprised if I saw it. People are willing to try it just because of Acerola and scoop ups, but I still believe it has a lot of weaknesses inherently. One of them being Greninja. Okay. Let's have another game. Fairy Water Psychic. I wonder. Could well be a Guardy. Could well be a Guardy. Yep, looks to be a Guardy. They're playing Timer Ball. What a man. What a man. Timer Ball's an option in here. An option we've chosen not to take. We have our candy, so the 1 Frogadier prized is fine, I guess. Jirachi is good in this matchup. I'm just thinking if I want to play it down. Yeah, I do. Stardust can do 80 if I put a choice band on. To a Guardy, like super down the line. What a meme. We'll leave it. We'll leave it at this. Yep, looks to be a Guardy. Oh, they can't end us. What a dream. Awkward Sycamore for them straight off the bat. Wow, that's a pretty weak turn, huh? Had the option there of retreating and evolving into this one. Maybe that was the better option. Yeah, that was definitely the better option. Misplay. Misplaying frogs just because it's a deck I've not played for a while. Testing all sorts for Worlds right now, so my brain's sort of all over the place. We'll see. See if it comes back to haunt us. I mean, we have so many stretchers that I doubt it becomes a huge impact. We shall see. Here's a Guardy. There's a Candy. There's a DCE. Retreat. Secret Spring. Yep. So they're down to 1 card hand. Well, 2 card off of the draw. They've got their 1 secret spring off for game. Now we have the interesting decision. I think I'm definitely Stardusting here. Because the likelihood of them having like Guzma plus enough energy to move around sounds ridiculous. So instead of stitching, we're going to hit him for 80 with this. And try and defend Greninjas this way. Let's go for it. Stardust OP. This might be their GX attack turn. Yeah, it looks to be the case. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, they can improve their top decks quite a bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, I guess. I don't even know. There's a lot of bad targets in there, to be honest. Like, he doesn't want to draw VS Seekers now that he's put these guys back in. Those are a lot of bad draws, actually. I probably would have passed there if it was me. Hashtag just saying. Well, this has gone very well, hasn't it? We can burn a Froakie. We can burn a Staryu. Yeah. Let's burn a Staryu from deck. Oh, I misplayed. We could have got an extra water energy because I'm going to pay retreat. That's fine. We keep it in there for future. I mean, we can only do 1 anyway this turn, right? Could have shuriken the Ralts, but with a 0 card hand, it's really not the threat. We should just pile in on this guy while we can. And obviously Shadow Stitch is the play. We can't carry this, can we? No. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. Yeah, he can only go to 15. He needs like Kukui into DCE here to KO our active. I think he's in concede central at this point. Team concede. Well, the DCE. He got as close as he could get. Yeah. Sounds about right. Made mincemeat of a Guardi, and that is one of the big selling points of Greninja going into Worlds. Guardi, a powerful deck. Maybe not the World's winning deck. People are targeting it, it seems. It's gonna be a weird thing to see if people actually end up playing Guardi or not. It feels like a ghost in the room at the moment where a lot of people have just said, like, put it on a pedestal, this card's insane. So people might be going into Worlds targeting Guardi, and then no one's actually playing Guardi. It's going to be a weird one. Because last time at Worlds, everyone, well, a handful of people targeted Night March, but it was a tried and tested deck, right? Whereas this time around, it's a brand new deck. And when it's a brand new deck, we don't know how many people are actually going to play it. So it's a very different dynamic to last year's Worlds, in my opinion. It looks like we've got a Metagross now, which is again a good matchup for Greninja. Man, if this is my Worlds Day 1, you'd be chuffed, wouldn't you? You'd be absolutely chuffed. Hit the matchups you want to see. What a dream. And we've had duplicates every time. Incredible scenes. Okay. Yeah, looks to be Metagross. Might be in a Guzma build. Doesn't really change the matchup too much. Beldum. Looks like they're going to Lele Bridget, I would imagine. Yep, there's Tapu Lele. And we see the Wonder Tag. There she is. I wonder if they'll actually get out Necrozmas. No. Just the gang. So in theory... No, Bubble's just the best play here for sure. For sure. Haven't prized a Frogadier. Incredible scenes. We'll try and deny the beacon. We have another energy in hand. Very good. They've got a pretty good setup going on. We drew into one of our many Ball Search cards. Okay, looks good to me. Let's chuck an attachment down as well. Maybe not. Do I have a Guzma here to try and make it more awkward for him? I think we do, right? We don't want to give him free beacons. It's going to fill out our turn, basically. We'll hold the water energy, I think. Not hugely helpful on a Froakie for a while. Let's see how many they can get going here. There's one from hand, retreating back into the Vulpix, so we're not getting code this turn. There's a Kukui, so their hand is pretty poor. They're going to get a Metang down. Choice Band, sure, why not? Beacon. Beacon. Do we even need to N? I don't think we do. Like, we can let him have a Metagross and a Metang. Because he's doing nothing with them. We'll just Stitch, because we got a guaranteed Shuriken and stuff next turn. Seems fine. The only thing I'd want to dig for is more Greninja pieces, but we're not in threat for another turn. And even then, it's not... Like I say, threat very loosely. Wow, spreading his attachments is a terrible idea. Seeing as though we're taking the single prize on the Vulpix, it makes sense that we take the single prize on the Beldum. We can end away these. Now we start looking for Greninjas. Very good. This went to plan. I'll hold the dive ball because I actually kind of want it for Starmie next turn. We'll see though. Oh, Starmie was prized. Okay, we have Starmie next turn, which means we can grab a break. It's going to be a mighty algorithm turn. Or like a ranger or something. Ranger's not even a threat because they're at 150 damage. I really don't know how Metagross is meant to win. Hex. That's fine. Hex algorithm, huh? Like, I'm not even worried about this. He can get 5 cards, but the 5 cards aren't going to win him the game. Like, I guess he's going for like VS Seekers for Kukui spam or something. Or VS Seekers just a Hex spam. But it doesn't feel great. To be honest. Doesn't feel great for him. A hand needs to be dead for a lot of turns for this to be a good idea. We'll evolve into Starmie. We'll grab ourselves a break and attack with this one because we can have a splash energy on it. Which means we can defend it a bit better. Because I'm imagining he's got VS Seeker for Kukui. We can splash just about everything on this board, right? We don't mind putting splashes down every single turn because it's not like we need them for shurikens or anything. So let's just stitch them up. It's only a 40 poke, but it denies so many things. Denies everything he wants to do. Yeah, it's going to be Kukui. It's going to be Hex. I don't know what he wants to do, to be honest. I don't know what the right answer is here. I have a splash energy on, so it's probably Hex, to be honest. Yeah. Hex and 150. What a sad state of affairs. I guess we retreat now. This gives him the Kukui play. But the Kukui play is a really bad play. Giving him a prize but keeping the board seems good. This is a weird one. I'm happy to stitch with this guy. I guess that win condition involves a lot of VS Seekers chaining, yeah. That algorithm would have just been VS Seekers and maybe a basic energy here or there. Just having to pass is so bad for them. So we can... Do I want to keep in the discard pile? Yeah, I kind of do. We don't need the Jirachi. Even more dead than the Starmie. Staryu, I should say. Shadow Stitching. Very boring, but we have a big old setup going at this point. See an Ultra Ball from them. Getting a Tapu Lele. Just to Sycamore it away. See a Field Blower. Getting rid of our Choice Band. Sadness. We're back to terrible damage. There's a retreat. I imagine there's a Max Potion coming down. Yeah. But they didn't Hex. And that's good news. We could actually do the... We could actually Guzma. We could... Yeah, we're Guzmaring for sure. Triple Shuriken. What a meme. So, 180, 190, 200, 220. So I guess we triple Shuriken Lele and then just attack the active. Or we just Guzma this and keep it trapped, right? And then still Shuriken the Lele. Yeah, that's what we do. That's definitely what we do. Shuriken. This means he can't float stone, I guess. Seems good. Will thin a card. Well, I said in the analysis that the Guzma would like never happen, but here I am. Seems good. Yep. Pretty good concede there, I'd say. So, we faced some good matchups. We beat Guardy and Metagross and Tapu Koko. So, all ability reliant decks. So we were just chilling. They couldn't one-hit us in all of those matchups, actually. So it's a testament to the tankiness of the 170 HP non-EX. We were able just to move between stuff, and we got the cool memes of a 180 damage turn via abilities alone. So, Greninja, it set up every time. It faced ability-focused decks, which seemed to be a decent portion of the metagame. So, why not play it for Worlds? I don't know, really. So, I guess we'll see it around there. I'm probably doing well, because by the law of averages, someone will have a hot day and just run nicely with Greninja and weave it through to the late rounds. So, who knows, guys? Let me know what you think about this list. Let me know what you think about Greninja for the Worlds format. And maybe even post-rotation as well, because it's probably sticking around. It does lose a few things, but that's probably going to just carry on anyway, because people play it when it's horribly inconsistent, so they'll play it regardless. So there we go. Please leave a like to this video if you did, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. For now, though, it has been Joe from OmniPoke, and I'll be seeing you guys in another Worlds video tomorrow. Cheers.